Have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt slightly out of place, like you're present but not fully rooted anywhere? Not rejected, not unwelcome, just quietly floating. Many empathic women carry this feeling for years and rarely talk about it. If that's you, I want you to know something right away. This feeling didn't come from nowhere. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly where it came from and what to do next. Here's a private truth many empaths recognize instantly. You can adapt almost anywhere. You can connect with almost anyone. And yet, belonging never quite settles in your body. And the reason is subtle. When you were younger, belonging wasn't something you felt. It was something you performed. And this is the part no one explains. At some point early on, your nervous system learned that connection required awareness, reading moods, anticipating needs, staying emotionally available. You learned how to be easy to be with, hopeful, calm, and that adaptation kept relationships intact. It kept things stable. So your body learned, this is how I stay connected. And it worked, until it started to cost you. Here's the first loop to hold gently in your awareness. Why does this sense of not belonging follow you even into safe spaces? Even with kind people, even when no one is pushing you away? It's because your body never learned that it could relax inside connection. It learned how to monitor instead, and a monitoring body cannot feel at home. And here's the part no one tells you. Belonging isn't about being accepted by others. It's about being able to remain yourself while connected. Many empaths didn't get to practice that. Connection came with unspoken rules. Don't be too much. Don't need too much. Don't disrupt the emotional field. So you learn to soften yourself just enough to stay included. And over time, that softening became automatic. Let me make this real. Imagine walking into a group setting. Nothing is wrong. Everyone is pleasant. But inside, you're subtly adjusting. Your tone, your energy, your opinions. You're checking how much space you're allowed to take. That quiet vigilance isn't insecurity. It's a nervous system shaped around maintaining safety through adaptation. And that system doesn't shut off just because you're an adult now. There's a comforting myth that empaths feel like they don't belong because they're too sensitive for this world. That explanation sounds validating, but it misses something important. Sensitivity doesn't create disconnection. Self-suppression does. When you've spent years bending to fit emotional environments, you lose the felt sense of where you end and others begin. And without that inner boundary, belonging feels vague and unstable. Listen closely to this reframe. The opposite of belonging is not rejection. It's self-abandonment. When self-abandonment starts early, it becomes invisible. You don't think, I'm leaving myself. You think, I'm leaving myself. You think, I'm being considerate, I'm being mature, I'm being understanding. And over time, you forget what it feels like to arrive somewhere without adjusting. First, here's a gentle pattern. Interrupt. If you've ever thought, maybe I just haven't found my people yet, pause for a moment. Sometimes the issue isn't the people. It's that you were never taught how to belong without earning your place. And that wasn't your fault. It was a survival strategy. And survival strategies don't disappear just because the environment changes. Many empathic women also confuse belonging with usefulness. When you're needed, you feel momentarily anchored. When you're helping, listening, supporting, you feel included. Needed feels close to belonging, but it's not the same. Because the moment you stop being useful, the old question returns. Where do I fit now? And this is where the deeper work begins. I want to open the second loop here. There is a simple sentence you can begin using, internally and out loud, that helps your nervous system relearn safety and connection. We'll come to it soon, and it won't require you to explain yourself or justify your needs. Before that, let's slow this down and bring it into your body, because this feeling of not belonging doesn't live in your thoughts. It lives in your nervous system. Place one hand on your chest and one on your lower belly. Take a steady breath in through the nose, letting the belly rise. Exhale gently through the mouth. As you do, press your feet into the ground and quietly say inside, I am allowed to take up space as I am. You might feel resistance. That's okay. That resistance is old learning beating something new. Now, a soft self-check, not to fix anything, just to notice. When you enter a new space, do you arrive curious or cautious? Do you feel responsible for how others feel? Do you know what you feel? or mostly what others feel. And when you imagine being less accommodating, what emotion shows up first? Let those questions sit. Awareness is enough for now. In the next part, we'll talk about how to rebuild belonging from the inside out, how to stay connected without shape-shifting, and how to use clear, kind boundary sentences that actually anchor you instead of pushing people away. Now let's talk about what actually changes this, because insight without practice can leave you feeling understood but still stuck. Belonging doesn't come from finding the perfect environment. It comes from teaching your nervous system that it's safe to stay present as yourself, even when you're not performing, pleasing, or smoothing things over. And this is where things become quietly powerful. Many empathic women assume that if they stop adapting, they'll lose connection. That fear makes sense. Your body learned early that connection depended on flexibility. So when you imagine showing up more honestly, your system predicts danger. But notice this. That fear belongs to an earlier time, and you're not there anymore. And here's the part no one tells you. Belonging deepens when you let yourself be slightly inconvenient, not unkind, not dismissive, just real. The moment you allow a pause before responding, or you don't immediately match someone else's energy, something important happens. You give your body evidence that connection doesn't disappear when you stay with yourself. Let me give you a sentence you can use when you feel that old pull to adapt too quickly. I want to be honest. I need a moment to check in with myself before answering. Notice how that feels. It doesn't reject the other person. It includes you. An inclusion of self is the foundation of belonging. Here's another moment many empaths recognize. Someone shares something emotional and you feel yourself leaning forward internally, ready to hold it. Before you do, try this sentence. I care about you and I don't have the capacity to hold this right now. Say it gently. Say it slowly. This isn't a boundary meant to push away. It's a boundary that tells your nervous system you matter too. And when someone pushes back, when you feel that familiar pressure to explain or soften, there's one more sentence that can anchor you. This is important to me, and I'm not changing my mind right now. You don't owe a story. Calm repetition is often kinder than over-explaining. And here's the surprising part. People who can stay connected to you through that are often the ones you actually belong with. I want to offer you a simple reset tool you can use anytime that not belonging feeling surfaces, especially in social situations. First, slow your breath just slightly. Inhale through the nose, steady and unforced. Exhale through the mouth a bit longer than the inhale. Second, bring gentle pressure into your body by pressing your toes into the ground or lightly pressing your fingers together. Third, say this inside. I can stay here as myself. This takes about a minute, and it works because it brings your system out of monitoring and back into presence. As you practice this, something subtle shifts. You start noticing when you're about to disappear, and that noticing is powerful. It gives you choice, and choice is what was missing before. Here's a compassionate self-check you can return to when you're unsure. Am I here or am I performing? Am I listening to my body or overriding it? If I took up 10% more space right now, what would change? And what am I afraid would happen if I didn't adjust? These questions aren't meant to criticize you. They're meant to bring you home. I want to say something clearly and kindly. You are not meant to belong everywhere. True belonging is selective. It's felt in the body as ease, not effort. And the more you practice staying with yourself, the more naturally you'll gravitate toward spaces and people where you don't have to earn your place. There may be moments of grief as you do this. You might realize how often you adapted, how rarely you rested inside connection. Let that grief be there. It's not a setback. It's a sign of integration. And on the other side of it, there is relief. Here's what many empathic women discover as they stop shape-shifting. The sense of not belonging begins to dissolve, not because the world changed, but because they did. They stopped leaving themselves to stay connected. And belonging finally had somewhere to land. You don't need to force this. You don't need to get it perfect. Each time you pause, breathe, and include yourself, you're building a new internal home. And from that place, connection feels different, softer, more grounded, more real. Let me leave you with this. You don't find belonging by fitting in. You create it by staying in yourself. And that is enough. In the next video, we'll talk about what happens when an empath stops over-explaining and starts trusting her inner yes and no.